The recording. All right. So again, we are talking about gearing up for farmers market season. My name's Tina Guajardo, as I mentioned. And today is April 11th, 2024. I work for Bronson Community Health Advancement, and we're going to be talking about the farmers market season. So before we get started with any of that, we always like to give you guys a good reminder about where you are able to find any sort of care or help at Bronson if you need it. So the first feature that you are seeing on the screen is our Find a Doctor or Search for a Specialist feature. You can find that on bronsonhealth.com. So if you're ever looking for a new provider, maybe a specialist in a certain area, you can go to that website and you can search who is accepting new patients. You can search by zip code. You can search by specialty. If you don't feel comfortable doing it on the bronsonhealth.com website, you can always call the care advisors. Phone number is listed there on the screen, and they can help you find a new provider as well. And then if you are a current Bronson patient and you use MyChart, which is really that electronic medical record that you can have set up for yourself so you can see your test results, you can message your doctor, you can ask for a refill. If you ever need any help with MyChart, we have a department called Bronson Health Answers, and they can help you navigate that system if you're ever needing any assistance there. The third bullet there is patient billing help. So if you've ever received a bill, you need to set up a payment plan, you have some questions, then please contact our patient accounting. They're always available to assist you in that manner. And then the last bullet there is the price estimator tool that we have. You can call our price estimator team, or you can get an estimate for a service that you have been referred for through the MyChart system. You do not have to have an active MyChart account in order to use that estimator tool. But if you've been referred for something, maybe like an x-ray or something along those lines, and you don't know exactly how much that's going to cost you out of pocket, then you can contact that team and they can kind of give you an idea of how much to expect to pay out of pocket for those services. All right, so before we get started then and talking about our conversation today, I am going to start a poll, and I'm going to ask you guys a question here, and that is, how often are you currently shopping at a farmer's market? Obviously, I realize it's April and you're not doing a whole lot of it right now, but in the past year, how often do you tend to go to the farmer's market? Never, rarely, a couple of times during the season, at least once a month. I try to pop in and get to the farmer's market, maybe a couple times a month, maybe it's every week. And looks like you guys have all answered. So you're all very split. Some of you guys are never going. Some of you guys are rarely going. A couple of you are going a couple of times during the season, maybe once a month. So you guys are not an every week. This is where I always get my fruits and vegetable type of people in this group, and that is okay. I kind of tend to fall in that same category. I'll usually stop in a couple of times a month to check out and see what's going on at the farmer's market. So what are our goals today in this class? So we are going to talk about the benefits of shopping at your local farmer's market. We're going to talk about some questions that we can ask those vendors at the farmer's market, whether they be the farmer themselves or a grower at the farmer's market. What kind of questions to ask just to get to know your farmer a little bit better. I'm going to provide you with some resources as to where you can find your local farmer's market if you're just not sure, or maybe you're visiting a new town and you want to check out a farmer's market while you're there. You can go to this website and search for that information. And then we can't leave any of these classes, right, without providing a few recipes. So I'm going to provide you with some recipes to help you eat seasonally, and I'm going to focus on spring produce when I offer those recipes to you guys. So I'm gathering a lot of information for this presentation from the Michigan Farmers Market Association. Yes, we have a Michigan Farmers Market Association. They have a really great website that is available to the public for additional information on, shopping tips, and they've got a YouTube channel, so check them out. But I wanted to start our conversation with just defining what a farmer's market is. And so the Michigan Farmers Market Association defines a farmer's market as a public or reoccurring assembly of farmers or the representatives that sell direct to consumer, right? So there's no middleman. Farmer is growing their produce, they're selling at the farmer's market directly to you, so no middleman. And they sell their produce or maybe even their products, right? If you've been to a farmer's market where maybe there is, honey, maybe there's bread, sometimes there's craft and knitted supplies. So maybe it's just products too, which they have produced themselves and are selling. Typically, a farmer's market is going between the months of May through October. I think when it comes to Michigan seasonality, we probably have the most options at the farmer's market in the months more starting like June through September, October. May kind of is a slower season at the farmer's market. You're just starting to get some fresh produce available. But there are farmers markets, and I'm going to provide you with a couple at the end of the presentation today that also are open all year round or have a winter market series as well. Not as common, obviously, because there's not as much seasonal produce available during those winter markets, but some are available. What are the benefits of shopping at a farmer's market? I think for me, my number one is supporting our local economy, right? We know how important it is to support our local economy, whether it be just our small businesses, like our small retail fronts, but also our small local family farms. We know that from an agriculture perspective, our farms are getting bigger and bigger, and we are kind of disconnected to where our food is coming from. And it's nice at a farmer's market to be able to not only just support direct to consumer, as that Michigan Farmers Market Association was mentioning, we're giving our dollars straight to the farmer to support our local neighbors in our community. We also have that opportunity to have those conversations with those vendors and those farmers. We get to know them, we get to know their family, we get to understand where our food is coming from a little bit better, and having those conversations and learning about different produce options that maybe we don't usually see at the local grocery store otherwise. But those farmers are they're the expert in their own produce and what they're selling. So not only can they give you all those answers about how it's grown, but if you're ever trying to experiment with something, this past season, I have been having more conversation about rutabaga than ever before. It's not a vegetable I would have ever picked up at the grocery store, but that is where we get to have those conversations and have those conversations with the grower, the one that is the expert in, let's say, the rutabaga, right? And we can say, how do you like to cook this? I'm so inexperienced with this. A little bit easier to do when we are talking to the vendor that is selling that produce directly than when you're at the grocery store. It might not be as easy to have those conversations. So I want to hear from you guys. Which farmer's market is your favorite farmer's market to attend? Either type that answer in the chat or go ahead and unmute yourself and answer what your favorite farmer's market is. I'll give you guys a minute to do that. And while you're doing that, I will have to say, my favorite is probably, when you go to South Haven, you're on vacation, right? You get to stop by their farmer's market. I really did enjoy just the location of the farmer's market too, kind of walking along the water, looking at the booth, sun is shining. I'm gonna have to say that one's probably my favorite. All right, so we've got some people saying the Kalamazoo farmer's market, huge, right? That is such a big farmer's market. Or just some roadside stands, right? I love that you said roadside stands too, because when we're talking about direct-to-consumer sales, it doesn't always have to be in the farmer's market. You go up north, you go to Traverse City, you see all those roadside stands for apples or whatever else, asparagus. Susan says the Marshall Farmers Market. I've always wanted to go to that one. I haven't made it out yet, Susan. So the Marshall's Farmers Market I've heard is amazing. And she says it's at the park across from the library in Marshall. Downtown Battle Creek, absolutely. Thank you. Representing Battle Creek. I am in Battle Creek. And just a plug for myself, I'm going to be at the Battle Creek Farmers Market once a month over the summer. And so I'm looking forward to having a presence there. Nikki says she's been to the Kalamazoo one only once. And then she says Texas Corners has a farmers market as well. She's been to that one a handful of times. And becoming more familiar with the Portage market. See, we got Kalamazoo County right there represented with 3 different farmers markets. So, and sometimes it's those little pop-up farmers markets too. I'll show you guys the resource, the Michigan Farmers Market Association, and how to find your local farmers market. They're not all listed there necessarily. Sometimes you kind of get those pop-up farmers market, and that's the one I attend most often. My farmers market that I go to is not on the Michigan Farmers Market Association website. It's more of a pop-up farmers market, very grassroots effort, and it just happens to be the one that's closest to my home. So I like to stop in that one. Very good. All right, awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. We have represented almost, I think 3 different counties there. So that's great. All right. So I wanted to bring up SNAP and Double Up Bucks. And you may or may not be familiar with these programs, but this is one of the benefits, in my opinion, for individuals shopping at some farmers markets. Not all farmers markets accept SNAP and Double Up Bucks. So let me just describe what some of these programs are if you're not familiar. So first, to start with SNAP. SNAP refers to Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It's referred to as SNAP for short. You may have heard to this program referred to maybe as EBT, Bridge Card, food stamps, food assistance program. It's got many names, but the most official name is referred to as SNAP, or maybe you've heard it as SNAP benefits. So this program, SNAP, is for individuals that qualify based upon a low income status, and a predetermined amount of money gets loaded on what is referred to as that Bridge Card program. And there are retailers, obviously, your larger grocery stores. Any grocery store usually will accept SNAP benefits, but there are a multitude of farmers markets as well that accept SNAP benefits, which I think is a beneficial thing to have, where we can support our local growers using SNAP benefits as well. And these benefits can be used to purchase anything really that's edible, in the sense that you can purchase your fruits and vegetables, yes, herbs. If the farmer's market is selling, a tomato plant, so a plant that produces food, SNAP bucks can go towards that. Honey, baked goods, so the bread, meat and eggs, anything that SNAP would pay for at the grocery store, eligible to purchase at the farmer's market as well. So if you or yourself or anybody else that you know uses SNAP benefits, please know that there are certain farmers markets in which you can use your SNAP benefits there too. And then for people that do receive SNAP benefits, again, that preloaded amount of money that goes on that Bridge Card to help purchase groceries. For people that receive SNAP benefits, are also eligible to receive this program called Double Up Bucks. And a lot of the farmers markets will also, they also participate with this Double Ups program as well as some grocery stores. Not as many grocery stores, but some grocery stores also participate in Double Up Bucks. And what that is a dollar for dollar match when spent on fruits, vegetables, herbs, and again, those plants that produce food. So what that means is it's an allocated amount of money up to $20 per day, meaning If somebody uses their SNAP benefits, right, their EBT card to purchase fruits and vegetables, up to $10, they get an additional up to $10 extra, right? So up to $20 a day to purchase fruits and vegetables. Again, that's for people using their bridge card. And then there are other projects like WIC, Women, Infants, and Children. They'd have a Project Fresh. They also have a senior citizen program called Project Fresh. And that's usually a booklet of coupons. It might be like a $30 booklet that they can use at the farmers market to help, supplement and purchase fresh fruits and vegetables at the farmers market as well. So some additional side notes there, some good benefits in purchasing from the farmers market. So when you're at the farmers market, what are some good questions to ask to get to know your vendor a little bit better? I want to hear from you guys as well after I kind of go through these questions. So these are the things that come to my mind first. We really want to make sure that we are supporting local. And so one of the questions that can be asked is, where's your farm located? Farmers love to talk about their farm, what they're doing on their farm. They love to, you can ask if you can have an invitation to kind of get a tour of the farm. People love to show that off. And that way, where your farm is or where your produce is coming, which farm it's coming from, how far away it's coming from. You can ask the questions like, did you grow these on your own? Did you grow them? Sometimes, right, maybe a farmer will do a wholesale produce order and then be selling it at the farmer's market, but maybe they didn't grow them themselves. So it's just a good clarifying question to know that you're comfortable with the produce that you are purchasing. If you are concerned at all about growing practices, maybe you're interested in the fertilizers that are being used or crop rotation when it comes to soil health, you can ask all those questions. They'd love to be able to tell you that stuff and educate you on those things. And this is where I come from, right? Like, what is this item? Like, I've never seen this before. Tell me about it. How is it grown? What do you do with it? I love to be able to ask those questions. Do you have any recipes for it? How do you like to use it? And then also the most important question, like, how should I store it? Again, they're the experts in their produce. They know what the best storage is for their produce. So those are some questions that I like to ask when I am at the farmer's market. But what other questions do you guys like to ask when you're at the farmer's market? Go ahead and type that in the chat if you want to, or unmute. What questions do you guys ask? And while you guys are thinking about kind of questions or typing those in the chat, one other thing I want to say about the benefits of shopping at the local farmers market, not just shopping local and supporting that farmer, but you think about when you go to the farmers market, there's such a sense of community, right? It just provides you this good feeling that you're supporting your own neighbors. You get to see familiar faces. You get to socialize a little bit. So just another sense of community. All right, I got some questions rolling in, so let's see what you guys are saying. And the practical question of how much does this cost? That's a very good question. How much does this cost? All right, and then if I see stuff out of season for Michigan, I ask where they're sourcing it from. Very good. Yes, exactly, right? Because that might be some of those wholesale orders that I was referring to. And I'm going to share with you guys in a little bit some seasonality guides that were developed by the Michigan Farmers Market Association. You can download these from this website. I'm going to show you guys a digital copy of them, but then you have that understanding of what actually is in season for Michigan during the spring and the summer. So you can go kind of well equipped with that information and kind of determine if this is likely a seasonal item or maybe not. That can kind of help clear up some of that information that Sarah is referring to there. Very good. Yes, absolutely. And then large greenhouse growers, exactly. It's good to ask that question. Don't assume, of course, because we do have lots of like hydroponic options now that you can kind of grow out of season. I'm thinking of like, if you guys are familiar with Kalamazoo Valley's Food Innovation Center, they're doing hydroponic growing of lettuces and tomatoes all through the winter to be able to source that to local restaurants and such. So good clarifying questions. Good. All right. So some tips when shopping at the farmers market. These are some pretty basic tips. If you guys have anything else to add, what equips you to be prepared to shop at the farmers market, again, please feel free to add them. These are just some tips that I think about when I'm at the farmers market. So, we're talking about summer months, and so it tends to get pretty hot. And so having your cooler in the back of your car, at least, right, with some ice or some ice packs, so our produce doesn't spoil, or if we are purchasing any meat or eggs or milk that may be at the farmers market, we always want to be prepared from a food safety perspective. So having that cooler in the back of your car available, and even when you're shopping through the farmers market, take one of those thermal grocery tote bags with you, with a cooler or with an ice pack inside the tote bag, so you can just put all of your items in there until you can get to the car. Oftentimes when I'm at the farmers market, the vendors don't typically have their own bags. Sometimes they do, like just some reusable plastic bags, but take your own just to be prepared, and especially like a reusable bag like you're seeing in the pictures. The bottom one particularly is a good produce bag, reusable option. You can just throw your tomatoes in there, your head of lettuce, and then just reuse that from each farmer's market that you're going to go to. Obviously, that decreases on waste from a plastic perspective, and it doesn't, it just makes yourself a little bit more self-sufficient in that way. Taking cash. Some farmers market vendors do accept cards, but if you've got one of your favorite farmers, or maybe you find a new favorite farmer at the farmers market and they don't accept cash or don't accept card, you still want to be able to support them. So have a little cash on hand for the farmers market. And then, last but not least, right, be open to trying some new seasonal produce that maybe you haven't had of before. What other tips do you guys have? I'm going to leave it there for a second. I want to hear from you guys. What other tips? I think about July, right? Sunglasses and sunscreen from a personal safety perspective when it comes to health education. Any other tips? I don't see anything, but if anything rolls in, I will shout them out. All right, so on to the seasonality guides that I was talking about. These are developed from the Michigan Farmers Market Association, and I am actually going to share these links in the chat for you guys so you have them. You can obviously just go to mifma.org, and then there is a section that says for shoppers. And you can look for the seasonality guides there, but I'm going to put these links in the chat so you have them immediately. I got it in the chat, so I'm going to read that out in just a second. I've put in the chat so far your spring seasonality guide, your summer. I just added the fall seasonality guide, and last but not least, winter. This can also help you put together your shopping list. So if you look at any of those PDFs that I just sent you, and you're seeing the front of the handout at this point, but on the back, there's also like food safety tips, the importance of maybe proper cooking temps or freezer temps, the importance of, washing the skins on your produce with a veggie scrubber. If it is a produce item that you would be eating the skin, like a potato or an apple, making sure to scrub that with a veggie brush. Just some fun food safety tips on there too. But there's also the shopping list, and that can kind of help you kind of be prepared. Like, okay, this is what's in season. These are the meals I'm making. This is the Michigan produce that I want to be able to, offer in my meals this week. That can kind of help you be prepared in that way. Before I go much further there, we had another tip. So let me read that real quick. It says, for roadside stuff, so assuming roadside stands and whatnot, I keep an ice chest in the car and often throw in a frozen half gallon. Oh yes, I think you're referring to a half gallon jug. of water that you have frozen. And when I leave the house, so I'm ready for drive-bys. Absolutely. I love that. That is such an easy ice pack option. A half-gallon jug of water, throwing it into the frozen or the freezer, stick it in your ice chest or your cooler for the back of the car so you're ready at any time. I love that. Good tip. All right. Oh, again, I sent you guys all of the Michigan Farmers Market Association handouts on what's in season in Michigan. So you guys have been looking at the spring option here. We are about to be ready for some arugula and some asparagus, and we've had apples on hand. We're about to see lettuce available. We've got some storage items that have been kept over the winter, you know, more things like turnips or radishes, parsnips that are just good, sturdy root vegetable sorts. So those are all going to be present at the farmers market come May when that starts. May and June, we're going to see a lot of these items. Mushrooms and herbs we're going to start to see. I'm going to flip over now to the summer seasonality guide. Again, this is available for download on the MIFMA website. Obviously, summer is prime time season for farmers markets, right? We're going to see a lot more apples. Yes, that's an option, but a lot of berries are going to be available. We're going to start seeing our carrots and our kale and our tomatoes and our peppers. We've got a fall seasonality guide that I won't go through step by step, but please feel free to download those. Those are really good resources. And then we also have the winter guide there as well, again, from the Michigan Farmers Market Association. So some handy things to have around so you know what you're shopping in season. And when it comes to cost, right, Nikki said that question, how much does it cost? Typically, when we're eating in season, more so at the farmers market, when it's ripe and it's growing in abundance, those costs usually are a little less in comparison to eating out of season too. So, question for you guys, what is your favorite spring Michigan produce? So if you're not super familiar with spring produce in Michigan, we've got apples, arugula, as I was mentioned, asparagus, that's a classic one, lots of your greens. So we're starting to see more lettuce and more kale available, radishes, spinach, maybe some sprouts, some turnips. What is your favorite Michigan produce besides asparagus? I mean, we have to say asparagus, right? Because it's the only time we get it fresh in Michigan. Asparagus too, all the greens to eat raw or cooked, absolutely. Last night I was just teaching a class in which we made a kale and apple salad because I'm trying to bring in that Michigan produce into my cooking classes. Kale and apple salad, a classic way to go about getting two spring produce options in Michigan with a good, sweeter honey mustard type of vinaigrette option over the salad with some carrots, lots of Michigan produce in that type of a salad. Very good, Susan. Thanks for sharing. All right. So the recipe section of today's class. Yes, Susan, thank you for sharing that. Yes, so now you're eating the greens. All right. The recipe section of the class now, I wanted to focus on a few things. This is just a screenshot, but I am going to send these links to the chat as well, so you guys have these. You know that we always put together a summary sheet at the end of these classes as well, but I like to be able to share the links with you immediately so you don't have to wait for those recipes to come through on the summary sheet. I just shared with you, again, from the Farmers Market Association's website. They're the experts in farmers market. They have lots of recipes available, so please check out their website. But this is one to highlight asparagus. And again, feel free. This is what this group class is all about, is sharing recipes. So we have some asparagus lovers in the class. Feel free to share your favorite way to prepare asparagus if you'd like. But this is an asparagus and walnut salad. It is some roasted asparagus, there's lemon juice, there's extra virgin olive oil, some healthy fats from the walnuts, and you can't have asparagus without a little shaved Parmesan cheese over top. So that is an asparagus and walnut salad from a chef with Michigan State University, and that link is in the chat for you. Feel free to take a picture if you want with your camera, if you want to take a picture of that as well. The next recipe I'm giving to you guys is a crunchy apple salad. And so real quick, let me go back to the previous slide, asparagus and walnut salad. We have a question, would it be good with raisins or cranberries if you are allergic to walnuts? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think asparagus with, like golden raisins, that sounds really good too. That color combination, asparagus and golden raisins, that would be totally fine. All right. Then to highlight apples, this is a website called Mitten Eats. And this is a fairly new website. It is just being developed through the Michigan Fitness Foundation. I'm putting that recipe in the chat. And before we go too far on the apple conversation, another comment here is asparagus is great with raspberry jam glaze. So fruit with it would work great. So raspberry jam glaze, so she is saying absolutely cranberries or raisins with your asparagus would be delicious. All right. So moving on to apples, I've shared the mitteneats.org website. Again, this is a fairly new website, but again, a wealth of information when it comes to seasonal Michigan produce items. They're loading more and more recipes as we speak. So it's a fairly new website from Michigan Fitness Foundation. But one of the recipes they have to highlight our Michigan apples is this crunchy apple salad. So here goes your raisins again, right? We've got apples and raisins with a little bit of non-fat yogurt. You don't have to use vanilla. If you wanted to cut down on your sugar a little bit, you could do non-fat Greek yogurt. That would be totally fine. Celery for that crisp, clean, crunchy component, a little cinnamon. And again, if you wanted to throw some nuts in there, a classic apple salad. Crunchy apple salad to highlight our apples that are going to be in season in Michigan. And then I had to throw out a parsnip recipe. Let me know if you guys like parsnips. Not a vegetable I eat very often. If you guys have a way in which you prepare it, please let me know. This is also from mitteneats.org. And this is a soup, right? Because today we all disclose that it is very rainy outside. And so in my opinion, I think that still makes it soup season. I am sharing that recipe in the chat as well. So this is a roasted garlic parsnip and white bean soup. Love a soup with beans in it. So this has got your garlic and it's got your parsnips, onion, olive oil, a little Italian seasoning, low sodium broth. You can use chicken or vegetable there. Totally fine. No preference, whatever you have on hand. Some white beans, and that might be a cannellini bean. That might be a Great Northern bean. Either of those would work just fine. Some lemon, salt, and black pepper. Again, this is from the Michigan Eats website. Roasted garlic, parsnip, and white bean soup. Yum. You get vegetables in there, you get flavor in there, plus you get fiber and protein from those white beans. I have not seen anybody share yet how they like to eat their parsnips. Does anybody have any other suggestions or recipes on how to eat your parsnips? Okay. If you've got any suggestions, I will read them off. Carrot and parsnip casserole, Sarah says. Sounds good. All right, we'll move on to the veggie taco boat. So one of the options that we have a lot of during the spring season is greens, right? We're getting a lot of spinach and kale and arugula. We might have like collard greens and mustard greens starting to become a little bit more available as well. Give just a second. All right, there we go. So this veggie taco boat that you're seeing on the screen uses collard greens, mustard greens, cabbage, spinach, and kale. Ooh, Susan, you can get all your greens in there. Yes, so this taco boat utilizes a lot of green vegetables, which are very healthy. We need to start eating more dark leafy green vegetables. So this is one recipe to definitely do that. And you're sauteing those down and really just serving them right over top some tortilla chips. So taco boat, think nachos. essentially with this recipe as well. We're adding some additional colors there with some red peppers, some red onions. You could add a little yellow squash, some salt and pepper, a little cheese, tomatoes, green onions, and then you just throw all that over top your tortilla chip. So a veggie taco boat, a very unique way in which to use tacos or nachos to get all those greens in there. So I love to sneak in those vegetables whenever you possibly can. And if you guys are monitoring the chat at all, we had the parsnip and carrot casserole recipe suggestion, and Sarah has been so kind to add that recipe to the chat as well from eatingwell.com, another great website. So thank you for bringing eatingwell.com into our conversation today. I love that website because you can really narrow down all of your recipes. I mean, based upon obviously dinner, appetizer, your standard narrowing down of recipes, but I really love to narrow down recipes on Eating Well based upon health concern, whether you're looking for a high fiber recipes, diabetes friendly recipes, low sodium recipes. Eating Well is a wealth of information. They also have a lot of educational materials as well. And when we're looking at health and nutrition, so great website. All right, so I got the veggie taco boat recipe in the link as well. So are any of these recipes appealing to you? Would you try any of these recipes? Or are you going to try asparagus with some raspberry jam glaze, or maybe even the carrot parsnip casserole? Share if you are going to try one of these recipes, and if so, which one? Which one are you looking forward to? I think I'm going to try my hand at some parsnips. Oh, all of them, printed them out. Awesome, great. Apple salad in the soup. I agree, that soup sounds good. You just can't go wrong with white beans and garlic. And so I think, right, with the parsnips cooked into the mix of that, I think I'll go ahead and give that one a shot myself. The apple salad classic. Oh, I'm just so excited about these apples that we've got. All right, very good. So I wanted to throw out some of the local farmers markets that are available. I told you guys that I am in Battle Creek, and so our downtown Battle Creek website got a plug in the chat here. That is happening at 25 McCamley Street. That Battle Creek Farmers Market happens on Wednesdays from 9 a.m. to 1 in the afternoon. And they have some special dates in which they do a Friday night market as well. So if you're ever in the Battle Creek on a Friday night, stop by the night market. The night markets can be fun, whether it be Battle Creek, Kalamazoo, or any of the surrounding areas. I can speak for what Battle Creek offers on the night market, but usually there's some music along with the farmers market, regular vendors, plus maybe a few extra, maybe there's food trucks. So again, the sense of community and fun, socializing, it's a great time. And then other farmers markets that we have out here in Calhoun County, there's the Marshall one that Susan mentioned. You said in the park across from the library. There's an Albion farmers market. There's an Athens farmers market if you are in that area. And again, these are just the farmers markets that are listed on the Michigan Farmers Market Association. There may be additional farmers market like the one that I go to out in the Urbandale area. Is not listed on the Michigan Farmers Market Association. So this is not an entirely complete list of all the ones that are offered. We had the Kalamazoo Farmers Market get discussed, 1204 Bank Street. And I hope this is correct information. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is from the Farmers Market Association website, but it happens on Tuesdays and Thursdays mornings from 8 a.m. to 1 in the afternoon, and then Saturday mornings, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you think about an early morning market like that, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., that's another tip. We get there's a lot more options. Maybe the earlier you go into the farmer's market, there might be more available. The nicest produce available is going to be there in the early morning and not having been picked through. But if you go later on in the afternoon, you might be able to get a good deal, and the farmer is going to want to be able to sell their produce too, so you might be able to cut cost a little bit there. And Sarah has mentioned and provided us the link to the Kalamazoo Farmers Market's website as well. They also have night markets as well, so watch out for those. And you guys mentioned a lot of the other farmers markets that are happening in Kalamazoo County too. Portage, Texas Township, there's one in Richland and Vicksburg and Comstock Township. And again, this list is not 100% complete. There are lots of other pop-up shops that just don't make it to this farmers market website. And then South Haven, the one I said, is probably my favorite to have gone to. 539 Huron Street, Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. That is the standard hours. And then also, because they're a tourist town, right, June through August, they're also open on Wednesdays, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And those are from the months of June to August. And then in the Van Buren County, there's also markets out there in Lawrence and Paw Paw and Decatur if you are ever in those areas. Now, maybe you are not in any of those areas, but I have a feeling all of you guys are. You can go to MIFMA's website. I'll put this in the link or in the chat as well. And you can find a farmer's market. So maybe you're going out to, Detroit, or maybe you're going to Ann Arbor and you want to figure out where the farmer's market is out there. You can go to MIFMA's website and you can find a farmer's market based upon zip code. And you can also narrow it down. You see this, I don't know if you guys can see my arrow here, but you can put your zip code in. I've got my zip code in there. Then you can also select a program. This is just a screenshot, so I can't actually select that and be interactive, but you might be able to do things like, I'm looking for a winter market, right? Because it's November or December, and so you're looking to hit a winter market. Or you can narrow it down by month. So again, December, right? You're looking for a farmer's market to hit. So you got some options there to kind of narrow it down to what your needs are in that moment. And give me a second. I have lots. There we go. All right. Great. All right. So that's MIFMA's website. So today, our time spent together, we talked about some of the benefits of shopping at the farmer's market. We learned from each other about some questions to ask the farmer. But the most important question is, how much does it cost, right? We got that in the chat. Where to find your local farmer's market if you're not familiar, which one is closest to you. And then hopefully you guys found some good recipes to try this spring season with Michigan produce, as well as just some good websites, eatwell.com, mifma.org, and mitteneats.org. All good websites to use good seasonal produce or just fruits and vegetables in general. I thank you guys very much for your time and being here and talking about the farmer's market. I sure wish it was sunny outside while we had this conversation and not raining, but that is good. I am going to stop the recording and then I'm going to open it up. We will have 10 minutes together. And so feel free, if you have any questions, to go ahead and ask any questions.